Hey there Tim, your mate Barry Watson here, great to see you. Now if you're on the hunt for a 3-season, 1-person tent, the good news is there's a massive amount of brands to choose from. And that can make it quite confusing. So to make things a heck of a lot easier for you, what I'd like to do is to show you my 5 top criteria for choosing a really good 3-season, 1-person tent. I'd also like to show you some popular tents in that space, including the new one I've just purchased, and also want to show you some tents which I don't rate very much, even though they are popular in other people's minds. So if you're ready, let's get into it. When we talk about 3-season tents, we're referring to it being able to cope with what I call Goldilocks weather conditions. They aren't wildly rough, they're not too calm, but able to handle moderate levels of wind and rain. However, as I've always said, bad weather can happen at any season, so make sure that you're well prepared. I know what I'm about to say could be highly contestable. However, when I'm looking for a tent, I really want something that is going to be comfortable, sturdy, and also highly functional. So in terms of those things, my top 5 criteria are, first off the bat, I'm looking for a tent that's 1.5 kgs or less, and that includes strong poles, pegs, and all guy lines. Now it's really important that when you do look on the website that you make sure that everything is included in the weight, because some manufacturers have a habit of missing out certain items to make the tent appear lighter than what it really is. In terms of internal living space, I'm looking for at least 2 square meters or more. Waterproofness of around 3,000 on the fly and 10,000 on the floor. I want a tent that's highly functional, especially to be able to sit up and get changed in, because it's just a lot more comfortable. And also I'm looking for a tent that's well priced, that represents great value for money. And speaking of good things, if you like these types of videos and would like to see a ton more, can I please ask that you subscribe to the channel, and that'll make sure you don't miss out. There's also some other things that you may wish to add to the list of criteria you want on your next tent, and they could include thickness and strength of the floor and fly fabric, having solid fabric around the bottom portion of the inner mesh to help reduce the amount of drafts coming into your tent, especially at night, good ventilation points at the end or at the top, a ceiling hook for a light can be really helpful, internal pocket to store some of your gear, good tensioners to tighten the inner and the fly, raised entrance door zip on the inner to help keep water and dirt out. The pole type and diameter is really important, especially in terms of strength, and of course, color choice. I'll be really interested to hear about what your top criteria are, so please put them in the comments. So based on my experience and other owners' feedback, here are some top 3-season, 1-person tents. Tents in this category can range from anything from around $100 literally up to $1,000. So at the higher price point is a very popular Hilleberg Enan. It's well liked by its owners for its strength and lighter weight and overall great quality that handmade Swedish tents are renowned for. Other tents of similar design that are a fraction of the cost include the MacPack Ultralight, the Van Gogh Nevis 100, the Terra Nova Laser Compact 1, to name but a few. The next tent in the mid-price point is one that I saw on a recent trip I went on, and I was very impressed. It's the Tarp Tent Sharp, which is well liked internationally for its large internal space and versatility to be able to adjust the amount of vestibule and living space you have, and also the ability to add 2 extra poles in a cross form across the top, which makes it more of a 4-season than a 3-season tent. Around the mid-price point is of course my new beauty, which is called the Mont Moondance 1. It's an Aussie branded tent, and the 3 things that really grabbed me was its massive 2.3 square meter living space, which is really huge. And also, not to be undone, is the 25,000 millimeter waterproofing on the floor, which is actually the highest I've ever seen of any tent. I also was really taken in by the bright color. Yes, I am a sucker for bright things. And that's not to mention the multi-point guy line system at the ends, which is awesome, the 9mm deck poles, and all this for under 1.5 kgs. As good as they are, there are some popular tents that I actually don't rate that highly. Here they are. The first tent in this category is the MSR Hubba. Now it's very small on the inside, however, big on price. And for me, its lightness is due to the big compromise of living space. It's literally like a coffin. If you're a smaller frame, it may be okay. It's just not good for me. Before we carry on, just give me a moment. Now the next one really saddens me because this is my very first wild camping tent I ever bought. Me and the Green Machine, the MacPack Microlight, had been on many memorable missions together. However, that even though this is a 3+ season tent, it does have one single strong pole that runs the length of the tent, which means that the sides aren't well supported. And that causes the inner to sag in normally, and even worse when it's got dew and condensation on the tent, which means that it becomes very damp and very restrictive in terms of the internal space. And you can't have a discussion about tents without talking about the ultralight space. These are the tents that are generally well under 1 kg, and leading the pack would be things like Z-Packs, which are single wall Dyneema tents that aren't cheap but are really light and very popular among long distance backpackers. There's also things like the Lanson and many other tents, generally held up by 1 or 2 trekking poles. Hey, thanks for hanging in today, everyone. Really appreciate it. Before we go, I'd love to be able to hear your thoughts on what is your best 3-season, 1-person tent. Please put it in the comments. And of course, until I see you in the next action-packed, informative, and hopefully slightly amusing video, always stay safe, stay strong. See you in the next video, everyone. Bye.